What is going on, guys? Dave from WakeUpItsFootball with the Red Zone Blitz. And, of course, alongside of Ezra from Idiot Sports Talk. Ezra, it's been almost 10 days now since we've done our last Red Zone Blitz. A lot to talk about. What's going on, man?
Long, exhausting, personal week for myself, and that's why the long delay for this week in Red Zone Blitz. So thank you, David, and everyone else for their patience. It's just I had to handle some personal things, and I got some good news, too.
Good news. What's the good news before we crack into it?
Well, I haven't even told my current job, but I got a new job, and that's going to allow me in the near future to start live podcasting again, which is my true love when it comes to this sports blogging stratosphere. So, yes, hopefully
awesome.
in the near future, a month or two, I'll be podcasting again. Idiot Sports Talk.
That is awesome, man. That's cool. That's really cool.
Hey, Dave, that means you're going to have to jump on and, give us some of your football expertise on there.
Oh, yeah. I know you're going to be doing, I know you're going to probably be doing all sports, but for football, yeah. I mean, hey, I can still talk sports, but I'll stick to football.
Great. All right.
All right. So since we the way we've been doing it the last couple Red Zone Blitzes, we talked about the games that had just previously happened. Well, now we just had the Rams and the 49ers play tonight, so we're going to do kind of like a combination tonight where we talk about some Week 3 ball and we'll talk about some Week 4 football. So let's backpedal just a little bit here, talking about Week 3, some of the events that happened. Let's hit on Von Miller and let's hit on Aldon Smith real quick. These guys are two products of the 2011 NFL draft. Both were drafted in the top 10. Now, these guys are great talents, but now they have some off-the-field issues happening with Von Miller. He received a 6-game suspension before the season started. He's currently serving that suspension. It was originally going to be 4, but now we found out that he tried to cheat his urine test, so I believe the NFL tacked on an extra 2 games. Before we go any further, Ezra, do you think it's fair that they only tacked on 2 extra games for Von Miller trying to cheat a urine test, or do you think he deserved more games, more suspension time?
Honestly, I would love to say yes. Yes, he deserves more time because he tried to cheat the system, and it's a moral thing, and you want to uphill the shield, the NFL. But honestly, it doesn't bother me. I don't know. I guess anything with performance-enhancing drugs, I'm so numb to it from the last couple of years with baseball and about the news coverage behind it, and him trying to cover it up. First of all, it's not. If you tried cheating in the first place, covering it up, it doesn't really surprise you. It doesn't surprise me. You already tried to cheat in the first place, so why not take an extra step forward? And then, you know what? I imagine he's not the only guy. Maybe he's just the first one to get caught. But it really hasn't affected me hearing this news or anything like that. He got 2 extra games. He's out for 6 weeks. Is that because of the team, okay, the way it's constructed with Peyton Manning and all that, they're not really going to miss him. They'll need him for the playoffs. But if this was another team that needed his presence, this 6 games would have been a big factor for a playoff push.
When we're talking PEDs and illegal drugs, there's not a doubt in my mind that it's probably a good half of the league is using something illegal. How they're not getting caught, I'm not sure. Now, they're not testing for AGH right now. They're not testing for these, which blows my mind. If they started testing for everything all at once, and more than likely half the league gets caught, what would the NFL do? What would Roger Goodell do? Oh, I'm going to suspend half the league? Or would they really try to be lenient about it to the point where they start legalizing a couple more substances? Because if they think about this, Roger Goodell is always about the dollar figures. He's always about making more money. What would happen to the quality of the game when we find out half the league is using this stuff? It's obviously going to go in the toilet. So it's a very touchy subject, which is why I think they really haven't started testing for that yet. As for Von Miller, I don't know. He tried to cheat the test. To me, that he maybe half the season, maybe a couple more games, because you're showing the league that, you know what, we're going to slap your hand a little bit, but we're only going to give you 2 games. I don't know. But he's an elite pass rusher who, let me get his stat line for you guys here. 31 games played, so nearly 2 seasons here. He's missed 1 game. 132 combined tackles, 30 sacks, 8 forced fumbles, an interception, and a touchdown. Those 30 sacks it's almost 1 sack a game that Von Miller gets. If it wasn't for Peyton Manning, like you just mentioned, if it wasn't for him being on the Broncos, this would be a huge loss. But right now they're 3-0. So they're 3-0. Could arguably probably be, I'd have to look at their schedule, 5-1, 6-0 by the time he comes back. So Von Miller, troubled individual right now. Aldon Smith, he's going to miss. He missed tonight's game against the Rams. He's going to miss arguably another 3 games. He was arrested on charges of suspicion of DUI and marijuana possession. Right now, this is what we have on Aldon Smith. It's unknown how long Smith will be away from the team, but it's likely to be multiple weeks. And he's quoted here, "I am taking a leave of absence to address my health. I'm sorry that I have affected my team, my family, and the organization. I will do everything in my power to handle this situation the best way possible." I haven't really looked into it completely. Was it because of more of his substance abuse? Do you know, Ezra, on Aldon Smith, or?
I think it was a combination of everything. You know, the DUIs, the marijuana possession, and there's past troubles. So I think the league said, hey, you got to get this guy straightened out. And I think the league spoke to him and the 49ers and saying, hey, unless you want to get suspended for 4, 5, 6 games, because that clause they have in a contract where Roger Goodell can suspend you for getting in trouble. I think they told him, hey, you better do something, and I guess they decided let's nip it in the butt now, so he won't get suspended, and hopefully we can make the playoffs without you, and that's when we'll really need you. I think they're confident they can make the playoffs without Aldon.
I read off Von Miller's stat line. Aldon Smith, 35 games played. He's played 4 more games. 120 combined tackles, 37 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, and an interception. Before we get off of this topic, who would you rather have? Who would you rather have, Von Miller or Aldon Smith?
Oh, man, this is tough. I think people underrate Aldon Smith because Justin Smith is such a great D lineman, and they think he's the best on the 49ers, where I tend to agree because he commands that respect and the double teams, which frees up Aldon Smith. I'm going to go with Von Miller because there's no doubt who's the best pass rusher on the Broncos. And maybe, man, this is tough, man, because I was going to say you can use the PED argument against Von Miller too. Am I right? You can use that against him.
We don't know if Aldon Smith has been taking anything either.
Yeah,
so
we don't, but he hasn't been caught. So let's presume the man is clean, and he's got. So, and I feel like Aldon Smith plays in a tougher division. I'm just gonna go with Von Miller. I just like his speed, his combination of speed and power. It's just you can't go wrong with either. But I'm just gonna go with Von Miller here.
I think it's very even. It's like a 50-50. I read off both their stat lines. Everything's almost. Aldon has 7 more sacks, but he's played 4 more games. These guys are averaging almost a sack a game. They both have an interception apiece. Miller's forced a few more fumbles in a couple less games played, and he's gotten a couple more tackles. It's very even, dude.
I think it varies, because if you just have a guy strictly just going straight for the passer, I might go with Aldon Smith. Von Miller, I think you can drop him back. I'm not saying he's a great cover guy or stuff like that, but if you want to just to switch it up, you can put him on a tight end. I think he's a better cover guy than Aldon Smith. So I just think It depends what kind of defense you're running, but I think I will go with the more versatile guy, and I'm gonna go with Von Miller here.
I'll take Von. Barely,
Yes.
but I'll take Von. Week 3. We're gonna shy away from week 3 for a little bit after this. Teams that surprised you in week 3, man. I mean, you had the Browns, the Panthers, the Colts, all teams that won. Panthers 38-0 over the Giants. What is going on with Eli Manning to where you can't score any points? I think, you know what it is? I think the Panthers defense is very underrated. You had the Niners losing to the Colts. You had the Buccaneers going 0-3 after this week. Falcons are at 1-2. So there's a lot of surprises going around now in week 3. Now we're in week 4. The Niners just won tonight against the Rams. They are now 2-2. Rams looking like crap. And I'm a defender of the Rams. I know you picked the 49ers to win tonight. I actually picked the Rams. Were you able to watch that game tonight?
Yes, I watched quote-unquote the game. Very lackluster. If you want to talk about records, I think Thursday Night Football, when you talk about entertainment value this year, I think they're 1-3. And that one, meaning the Broncos-Ravens game, depending, I don't know what kind of games you like, that first half was pretty good. And in the second half, you know how the Broncos poured it on. The reason I thought it was entertaining because we saw a historic performance from Peyton Manning. But Thursday Night Football, man, there's been some dreadful eyesores. Okay, we know with my Jets-Patriots game, and tonight's game was another disaster.
They're trying to get storylines on Thursday Night Football. The first week, it's a rematch of that divisional, great game that went into overtime between the Ravens and the Broncos. That game in the divisional round was awesome, but like you just mentioned, Peyton Manning poured it on in the second half. Second week, you had, was it Andy Reid and against Michael Vick in Philly? Was that the week 2 or was that week 3?
I believe that was week 2. We got Philly.
When did your Jets play the Patriots?
That was last week.
Okay. So
we beat the Bills last week. It was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, you have a divisional round, a divisional game, Patriots and Jets. Last week, you've got another storyline. You've got Andy Reid coming back to Philly to play his old team. This week, what's this week? Another divisional game. So I can see the scheduling and where they're placing these games, but you just don't know how these games are going to be played. So it's all about storylines and how these two teams that they're going to play against each other are, how they connect.
You know what's the funny part? Next week might be, even though nobody probably expects it, it's the Bills and Browns next Thursday night. And
is it really?
Yes, Bills at Browns, and that might turn out to be an entertaining game because we'll all go into it like, okay, Bills and Browns. Thank you for the marquee matchup Thursday Night Football, NFL Network, and it'll turn out to be probably the most entertaining Thursday night game up to date.
Brian Hoyer.
3 touchdowns.
E.J. Manuel.
Whew. C.J. Spiller. Yeah, what's the other Jordan Cameron. Okay.
Oh, wait, you know what? We haven't talked about this yet. No Trent Richardson for the Browns.
No Trent Richardson, and they won.
And they won.
They won. They're 1-0 post Trent Richardson era.
Everybody said the Browns are writing off the season. Now, there's rumors about Josh Gordon and Greg Little being traded now.
But you could trade Josh Gordon and Greg Little. They're worthless anyway. Well, Josh Gordon's got some talent, but they need to get rid of all their playmakers.
Should we talk about the Trent Richardson trade before we move on?
Well, I spoke about it, but we can't. We could, if you want. We could quickly on it. I'll touch on it real quick. I thought it was a good move for the Browns. Why not? It's not how many times I said it? A million times. The passing league and running backs, unless you're Adrian Peterson, is not going to carry you to the playoffs.
I don't know about that.
You need a quarterback. You need a quarterback.
Yeah. there's just so many different ways you can look at this trade. Originally, I was at driving home. I got a text from a friend said Trent Richardson just got traded, and I was just the whole ride home. I was, what? Why would the Browns trade Trent after one season, after everything they did to trade up one spot with the Vikings, which they traded 3 draft picks for, to end up drafting him as a 3rd overall pick and then trade him away 1 year later for a first-round pick? The Colts might make the playoffs, so it's probably a good chance it's going to be 20s, 20s. A pick in the 20s.
It's a new regime. They have new thinking over there, and they have the right thinking. You need a quarterback, okay? Now, if you got 2 first-round picks, which they do have, and you're not in the top 10, top 5, you could package those 2 first-rounders, and you get in the top 5 and get the quarterback that you want. Okay, you're giving yourself ammunition, okay? They got the gun, all right? Bang, bang, now they need some ammo. All right, and if they don't, let's say they end up, the Browns by themselves end up in the top 5. You can still get that QB, and the later rounds, you actually draft a playmaker, a weapon for your QB. Because what was the last quote-unquote high potential playmaker? Braylon Edwards? Was it?
For the Browns?
Yeah, for the wide receivers. Yeah, it's. And now you got a nice little weapon with Jordan Cameron. So if you can add a wide receiver next year with a new rookie QB, then the hope is changing, that the thinking is changing. Am I right? Would that look nice? You got a nice young core there. That sounds nice, right, Browns fans?
Let me stop you right there real quick. I don't know if you heard this, but here's a little bit of a tidbit. Mike Holmgren, when he was on the staff last year, before the 2012 draft, I want to say they had 14 draft picks. He offered the Indianapolis Colts all 14 draft picks for the number 1 spot to draft Andrew Luck.
Smart move. That was a smart move. Even though it was turned down, I would have did the same.
Andrew Luck is such a rarity that it can definitely be argued, why not package all those picks? Well, some people you can build through the draft, you can get all these players, having a great draft class can, definitely propel you, and I totally agree. But at the same time, how often does a quarterback like Andrew Luck come along? Not too often. Now, is there going to be a quarterback like that in this year's draft?
I'm not saying there's an Andrew Luck. But you don't need and not every team needs an Andrew Luck. Joe Flacco, okay, does not have Andrew Luck potential. He won a Super Bowl, didn't he?
He did.
All right. I'm just saying. Eli Manning is not. Eli Manning is. He's a great quarterback. He's second-tier quarterback. He's got 2 Super Bowls. Second-tier quarterback, Big Ben, 2 Super Bowls.
Do you see a second-tier quarterback?
Hey, we don't. Not everyone thought, okay, that Russell Wilson was going to be this good, right?
You're
Just
right.
because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. And hopefully, Bridgewater's that guy if the Browns are targeting him.
They better hope so.
I'm just well, they've been hoping for the last 13 quarterbacks they had, but
and how many? I mean, this is a really scary thing about it. No matter how much studying you do and how much tape you watch on the guy that you are absolutely confident with. Who's the guy that Oakland drafted? Jamarcus Russell, Akili Smith, Tim Couch. All these guys turned out to be bums. And these guys were drafted in the top 5. So that's the scary thing.
But this is a different era. This is a different league now. It's just the rules are different. That's why you see a lot of these rookie QBs have success much earlier than they did 10 years ago. And playing this, let me ask you a question. Would you trade Trent Richardson for a young Eli Manning?
Yes, but you don't know if that's what you're going to get. But you don't know if that's what you're going to get.
Well, I'm just saying, these guys drafted Eli Manning, right?
Look,
the Giants, the Phillip Rivers, the Matthew Staffords, or whoever else. You got to take the chance.
I'll tell you.
Richardson for those guys all over again. I would trade Trent Richardson for who was? Oh, I was going to say E.J. Manuel was the first quarterback taking this. I might trade Trent Richardson for E.J. Manuel. Running backs are just not what they used to be. Look at your fantasy rosters. Just look at them. Just look at your fantasy running backs. Running backs are not game changers anymore for winning. It's just you need a nice running game, to complement your running back. I mean your offense, but they're just not game changers. They don't carry your team anymore to the playoffs.
The thing the Browns got, I think, right in that trade is the value, because when you think about a running back in the NFL, you always have to see how much mileage does he have on him. Right now, Trent Richardson, he has a year. He's 1 year of mileage on him in the NFL. Was he worth a first-round draft selection? Yeah. They got good value there. After this year, he might be worth a second-round pick. So in that aspect, I think the Browns got it right. But at the same time,
I look at it like this. You're giving yourself ammo in the draft to get a quarterback or more playmakers. 2, you're saving money. 3, you can easily replace it. Ben Tate is becoming a free agent.
I think that's who they're going to target. That's what I've heard.
He could be the next Michael Turner. Is anyone going to miss? Let's say he becomes 80% what Michael Turner was with the Falcons. Is anybody going to really miss Trent Richardson? What did he do for that franchise the first year?
I mean, as a rookie, he nearly ran for.
I'm talking about they didn't win any games. He didn't change anything. They were still the Browns.
They showed some spark.
They showed some. Cleveland.
Listen, you have to remember.
Are tired of spark. They want fire. Okay. They want desire. They want true hope. They're tired of little sparks. All right. No one cares about sparks.
Listen, I'm going to tell you why I said sparks. Because they were playing with a rookie quarterback last year in Brandon Weeden. They were playing with a rookie running back last year in Trent Richardson. They were playing with a rookie receiver last year in Josh Gordon. These guys were all fresh meat. You have to give them a little bit more time to develop. And how many games did they win last year? 5? 6?
And remember, none of these guys, the new regime didn't draft none of these guys.
I understand that. And you know what? They're definitely cleaning house, meaning the Browns aren't going to do anything this year.
1-0 since the trade.
I don't care. They're not going to be one. Honestly, what's their record right now? 1-3? 1-2?
1-2, I believe, right now.
1-2. The Browns, I'm going to come out and say it right now, the Browns
are
finishing
undefeated since trading Trent Richardson.
They're finishing 3-13 this year.
So, and guess what? That only helps them.
And you know why? If they didn't have a good defense, they'd finish 1-15.
Okay, all right. So let's say they go 3-13. With Trent Richardson, how many games do they have won?
With Trent, give him an extra game.
All right. Oh, so all this talk, and you're asking one extra
game. Give him
the
extra 2 games.
So 1 extra game, 2 extra games.
But that's one player.
You're drafting 3 from 13 to 4 to 12.
Well, what about the quarterback? What about the receivers? What about if a player can help you win an extra game? I'm fine with that. Hold on, listen. What about their quarterback situation right now? Who wins you the most games on your team? One player. It's gonna be the quarterback. Is it not?
How do you get a good quarterback nowadays, David? Is there free agent?
You obviously have to draft him.
Okay. Is it much easier to get a quarterback or a running back, David?
Where? In the draft?
Anywhere. Okay. I mean, in the draft.
I would say quarterback. It would be harder to get a quarterback.
Yes. So why not give yourself a better chance to try to get that guy? Because you know, everyone knows a good quarterback changes the team, changes the franchise. Running backs don't do that anymore, except for the exception. His name is Adrian Peterson. And last time I checked, he plays in Minnesota. There's no more Adrian Petersons after that. That's it. It's all over.
Okay. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. They are being devalued, and their tires run out quicker. Their lifespan average is only 3 years, so the value they got for Trent was fair. He was one of their only playmakers on that team, which is why I'm kind of. It's a new regime. They want
I,
to clean
I
house.
understand what you're saying. If you're a Cleveland fan, like, oh, this is the only glimmer of hope I have, and you
Exactly.
take it away from me. But sometimes you got to be really bad to be good, okay? So they have to, Cleveland fans, look at me, okay? You've been suffering for the last 10 years or whatever it has been. I understand that, man. I'm a Jets fan, okay? Believe me, I'm a Jets. There's tears and and suffering in my soul. But if I could go through another losing season, and potentially get a game changer, I'm willing to go through it. Before the season started, how many times did I say, I don't care who's the starting quarterback this year for the Jets? Go 3-13. Get me another quarterback already. I don't care. All right? I want something that's going to change the franchise, and that's a QB that will do it, not Trent Richardson.
I'll agree with you there. I just don't see. Right now, I don't see a franchise quarterback in this upcoming draft. Teddy Bridgewater, possibly. Stay tuned, folks. We will see who comes out on top in this draft in 2014. Now, Mr. Ezra, pulling up your power rankings here for Week 4.
I don't have any power rank. I just get on ESPN's power rankings.
No, they're yours now because last week
I went off.
You went off.
And guess what? I went off last week. You can ask the guys in the comment box. Let me know, guys. Am I right? I killed your Packers I killed the ESPN for having the Packers up there, the 49ers up there, and a couple other teams up there, and talk about how come the Bears weren't more on top. And you know what? Those teams proved me right. I like the rankings a little bit more this week. Okay, should we run down through the top 10 real quick, or should we just go through notable teams?
Let's do the top 5 real quick. I think there can be a debate here on just the first 2 teams. Seahawks at 1, Broncos at 2. I could see the Broncos being 1 on top. But it's fair to say that I think it's unanimous. Those 2 teams are 1 and 2 interchangeably. Saints at 3, though. Do you think the Saints is the 3rd best team behind the Broncos and the Seahawks right now?
I would put the Bears over the Saints, but I got no problem with the Saints being number 3 because they still got that high-powered offense. And you know what? To my surprise, and I imagine a lot of other people that have been following the Saints, their defense, they're playing deep. I'm gonna repeat what I just said. New Orleans Saints and the Drew Brees, Sean Payton era are playing defense. The Saints defense has held all 3 of their opponents. Okay, 3 games. They've held their opponents to 17 points or less. And that one of those teams included the high-powered Falcons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone thought they were going to be high-powered. Not me because I didn't pick them to go to the playoffs. But that's a different story, different day.
Patriots at 5. I think out of all the 3-0 teams in the NFL, the Patriots are the worst undefeated team in the league right now. I think they're awful for being 3-0. Does that make any sense?
I won't say awful, but I hear what you're saying. I would rather have the Dolphins over them, the Chiefs over them. If I had to pick number 5, okay, out of undefeated teams, which is the Dolphins and Chiefs, I'm gonna go with the Dolphins here. All right, I as a Jets fan, gotta give the Dolphins some love here. Tannehill has been playing great, especially on 3rd down situations, and it's just the Dolphins. They've been taking care of business. I will rank them number 5.
I might go with the Chiefs. Alex Smith is playing mistake-free football right now. No interceptions in 3 games.
Yeah, but he can't throw the ball over 10 yards. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. I'm tired of watching. That was disgusting to watch.
I don't care. If I have a quarterback who's going to throw me 2 touchdowns a game, but not make mistakes, not throwing any interceptions, I'll take that. I don't want him to hand the ball over to the other team. And he has more experience than Ryan Tannehill. Alex Smith is a guy who's very unappreciated in the NFL. He's not appreciated.
You know, you're right, because I don't appreciate him.
I know you don't. A lot of people don't. This year, last year before he got hurt and Kaepernick replaced him, and the year before that, you got to look up his numbers for the last 3 seasons. I think he's top 5, just numbers-wise. He's top 5 in the league, QBR and all that kind of stuff, because he doesn't turn the ball over. But that's just me.
Yeah, it is just you. You and Andy Reid, great.
Hey. All right, number 6, Bengals. Number 7, Dolphins. Chiefs are at 8. Colts are at 9. And the Niners, who just won tonight against the Rams, are 10th. And this was right after they lost to the Colts, which they were at 1-2 at that point. So I think for the most part, they got it right here. A lot of 3-0 teams, a lot of 2-1 teams.
Yeah, no, sorry. You got how you have the Texans below the 1-2 49ers and the Packers. Sorry, no. I don't care what the schedule would look like for the 49ers. And people going into before we went into the year, what would people say? The NFC, you said this, the NFC looks much stronger than the AFC, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you a little something. The NFC is 3-11 versus the AFC so far this year, and the Bears are 2-0. Did you want to hear that again? Want to hear that again, David?
What do you mean the Bears are 2-0?
The Bears are 2-0 versus AFC teams, and the rest of the league, the NFC conference, is 1-11 versus AFC teams.
I mean, is this like the Rams playing the Patriots, though?
I don't care who it is. Well, who's playing who? We need to stop with the preseason opinions and rankings, all right? If the 49ers, Packers lose, who I still think the Packers will make the playoffs because they're the best QB in the league, I understand all that. But since rankings is subjective, let's be a little bit more factual here. They're 1-2. Their defense doesn't look great. Let's give some credit to teams that actually won games and not go off of potential when it comes to rankings. This is why I get on power rankings.
But think about how the Texans have played their games.
But they've won.
They've won too. I understand.
Won.
I understand.
If you talk about how they played their games, look how they lost 2 of their games. They're not playing great. What? I don't understand that argument.
There's a difference between how the Packers lose and how the Texans win. The Texans in Week 1, I forget who they played. It was a very close game. In Week 2, the Titans took them to overtime, where the Texans barely won. In Week 3, they only put up 3 points against the Ravens. Those are the way they won their 2 games and the way they lost their only game to put them at 2-1. I don't know.
The Titans are what?
2-1.
Okay. The Texans beat the 2-1 Titans, right?
Yes.
The San Diego Chargers, I think they've been in every single game so far. Right? They've been close to every single game they've played so far this year, right? They lost the first week to the Texans, 28-31.
Mm-hmm.
They beat the Eagles 33-30,
mm-hmm.
and they lost this week to the 2-1 Titans 20-17. So the Chargers are very competitive, and the Texans beat a 2-1 team. So yes, their games have been kind of ugly, but they're beating competitive teams.
Okay.
Just saying. So you're trying to sell down on the Texans and the way they've played, but they're playing against competitive teams. So that's why they look. While the Packers
I just don't think that the Titans are, they can be competitive. I just don't think they're, one of those playoff caliber teams. I don't think the Chargers are one of those playoff caliber teams.
Well, we don't know that until the end of the year. We can
don't.
say we don't. The Titans might end up making the playoffs. We don't know that. They're 2-1 right now. I'm not saying they are. I understand that but that's what we're thinking. I want to talk about facts here. They're winning teams right now. That is a fact. Packers have 2 losses. That is a fact. Let's stop worrying about Week 16 because this is a Week 3 power rankings. That's exactly my point. Let's worry about Week 4 power rankings. And as of right now, these teams that are 1 and 2 and such, they're losing for a reason. The Packers have no running game. They can't stop the pass.
That's not true. That is not true.
Oh, okay, they're ranked 10th. I'm sorry.
Let me tell you what in the running game. The Packers hadn't had a 100-yard rusher in 45 games. 2 weeks ago, James Starks rushes for over 100 yards, and all the Packer fans are, hallelujah, we're singing praises here. Last week, against a very stingy Bengals defense, our rookie running back, Jonathan Franklin, had over 100 yards rushing. It just kind of blew my mind a little bit. He played very well for being a rookie, and that was actually the first touches he had as an NFL player was in that game. But 2 back-to-back 100-yard rushers who aren't Eddie Lacy. That's a bit surprising for me. It's a bit surprising, but different subject for a different day. Ravens are at 11. Packers are at 12, Texans 13, Falcons 14, Cowboys 50. We'll cut it off there. I mean, these are all, besides the Niners and the Packers and the Falcons, these are all 2-1 teams or 3-0 teams in the top 15. So I think for the most part they got it right. It's just where they rank them. You have a huge problem with the Texans being ranked at 13. Last week they had them at 4.
I got a bunch of problems, man. Okay, yeah, of course no one will agree with me, but this Cowboys, Lions, Titans, Jets being disrespected right now. Just saying. Well, I don't want to make this an hour show about power rankings. I'm just saying.
Okay. You can't just put everybody up in the top 10. So I don't know.
I know that, but can we not put losing teams in the top 10 while we have winning records? Okay. All right. Is that cool? I think that makes sense to me. Okay. Just saying. Just saying. Have a top 10 losing team. What? Doesn't make any sense. Get out of here, man. Not you, David. I'm talking about whoever does ESPN.
Again, they go off of potential.
Of course. All
right, man. Let's go to the guys who've been sitting here writing comments and questions, and we got Get With It Sports sitting here with us, man. We got Glass. I'm assuming it's Glass. Maybe not Brandon. Says, what's up? Checking out the Red Zone Blitz. See if we got any questions from you guys here.
Wait. I got to give a shout out to the unofficial commentator of the Red Zone Blitz, 18 Lockhart. He wants to call himself the official. I call him the unofficial commentator.
He's a first-round prospect for sure.
Hey, I know he's a top 3 pick, but he's still unofficial.
All right. Andy Rios wants to know. Not Andy, sorry. Andre Rios wants to know, has RG3 been exposed? How did he say that? Has RG3 been exposed to a read option only QB? I don't know if that makes sense.
Well, I guess he's trying to say is can he only be successful or be RG3 in that type of offense?
No. He doesn't have to run to be successful. I think RG3 has a legitimate arm. But I think what it is teams are figuring out the read option this year. Colin Kaepernick hasn't been running it. RG3's been too hurt. Russell Wilson never really did run it. Terrell Pryor, are they even running the read option there with him? Because I know he ran over 100 yards in the first week against the Colts. But I don't even know if they're exactly running that read option. I think what it is teams are starting to figure that out. I think it was just, I don't want to say it was a fad last year, but RG3 can still play quarterback. He's going to use his arm. He doesn't have to use his legs to be good. So I don't think he's a read option quarterback only.
I just think RG3 has legit accuracy problems, and 2, he's not ready to carry a team to victories.
Okay?
he's not ready to lead the. And what I mean by, I've said this last year. Okay, they had a running team, they played defense, and they asked RG3 to make some plays and not to lose the game. Now they're asking him to progress and to actually win games and going for the first down on early downs and not making the safe play, the safe read, the safe decision. I'm saying he has to. We need to give him more time to progress in that way. He's just not that guy just yet. But people thought that because the Redskins made it to the playoffs. He had a couple highlights. He made very important decisions and good decisions on important downs, on third down and such. So that's why people thought he can lead a team and he got all that love. But he's just not there yet. And I think there's more problems to the Redskins than just RG3. That Redskins defense is old. They're suffering through injuries, and we're not sure if he's 100%. But you know me, I was never 100% love fest with RG3.
I don't necessarily want to switch the subject here, but it relates to the read option topic in Colin Kaepernick. I haven't been sold on Colin Kaepernick yet. He hasn't played, what was it, 10 starts last year? And he's played 4 games this season. He technically hasn't even played a full season yet. These last 2 games besides tonight, he's looked really bad. He looked shaky. Decision-making hasn't been good. Uneasy in the pocket.
Same goes with RG3. The same things you're saying, RG applies to RG3. I'm talking about when he had time in the pocket, he's missing guys on post routes, slants, and guys that's just wide open. So, I don't know. These guys are asked to become more of a pocket passer and take control of the offense and be a big part of the offense. They're not delivering because they're not there just yet.
Let's keep going with the questions here. This is from 18 Lockhart. Do you like the Colts using Luck as a game manager like how they used him against the 49ers, or do you think they are limiting his potential?
You want to take this first?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was asking if you want to take it first, but I'll take it first. I had no problem in that versus the 49ers, okay, because you don't want to take too many chances because that's a great defense, and they cause turnovers, and, the Colts have a shaky offensive line. But I think it's a changing of the offense because, remember, last year, Chuck Pagano wasn't really his head coach. It was Bruce Arians, and you know where he's at now. He's with the Cardinals. So he wants more of a balanced attack, and that's why they spent the first-round pick on Trent Richardson, and they ran the ball a lot with Bradshaw, who did a great job versus the 49ers. He just wants more of a balanced attack. Last year, I think our Luck went for over 600 passing attempts, and Arians he likes to air it out. So I think that's why it looks more scaled back, and they're trying to limit our Luck. So that's what it looks like to the eye. But I think they're doing what they have to do. They're winning games with him, and they won versus the 49ers. I think it had to do with some of the game plan. But I don't think they're trying to limit it. It's just the way he envisions the offense.
Yeah, I don't think they're trying to limit him either. Like you mentioned, whatever it takes to win, let them do what they need to do with Andrew Luck. I think Andrew Luck could develop into something like Peyton Manning, where he starts to develop his own control over the game and control over his offense, where he starts making more audibles, if he has to. He reads the defense pre-snap and adjusts. I think Andrew Luck will develop into that kind of quarterback. Right now, remember, still second season, so if there's things that they want to work on with him, let them do that. I don't think they're limiting him. They're just trying to do the best thing, or they're trying to do the best they can in order to win games. They have a very talented guy at the quarterback position. Andrew Luck is the man there in Indy without a doubt. Questions from the crew. Let's start. We need a nickname for these guys, Ezra. We need a name. We need like Something to call these guys. The team, the crew, something. You guys should come up with that on your own down there. Suggestions for what we should call you guys. Let's go through some questions here. 18 Lockhart does not think the Browns will be getting Teddy Bridgewater. If they go quarterback, it's going to be Taj Boyd, who's out of Clemson. I think Hunley's from Cal. I think it's Marcus Mariota out of Oregon. If we're talking about first-round QBs, Mariota I don't think is going to be a first-rounder. I'm hearing Hunley will be. Boyd might be. Bridgewater is that top 10 guy. And the guy that me and Ezra like, man, Aaron Murray. I'm still high on Aaron Murray. I'm going to break down his tape at the end of the season and really evaluate these quarterbacks just like I did last year, but we'll see.
You know what? It's funny. You thought I was kind of sounded like I was killing Alex Smith earlier in the video, but Aaron Murray might be that type of guy. Might be that, or I don't want to say not the Saints Drew Brees, but the Chargers type of Drew Brees. I think that might be more of him, of a progressive Aaron Murray. Chargers Drew Brees wasn't a bad QB. He certainly wasn't a great one as he is with the Saints, but that wouldn't be bad at all.
Glass says, stop hating on the Bears, Dave.
He asked a good question. He said, Brandon brought up a good question on our show. Out of the 7 3-0 teams, which 3 are the real deal, David?
Well, Seahawks, Broncos, and then you got the Saints, you got the Bears, you got the Patriots, you got the Dolphins, and you got the Chiefs. I have to pick one more. It's hard to go against Drew Brees, so I would probably pick the Saints. You got Sean Payton back head coaching that team. Defense is playing better than they did last year. If you mix all that recipe together, you should be successful. So I'm gonna go with the Saints. Bears looking all right now, looking pretty solid. Patriots, like I mentioned, I think they're the worst 3-0 team out of all these teams, so they're gonna be my last pick. Then you got the Finns looking pretty solid. Chiefs looking pretty good, so that's tough, but I'm going to say Saints as my 13.
Okay. I believe there's more than 3 legit teams than out of this 7, but I'm going to pick 3. I'm going to go with my 3. My 3.
Let's hear it.
You know I'm going with the Bears here because they were my Super Bowl pick. I'm going with the Saints because they got Drew Brees, and for some reason they got defense. I don't know where this came from. Hopefully that keeps up. Wait, did I say 2 teams already? That means I'm leaving out someone, right? I'm leaving out the Seahawks. I'm going with the Broncos here because they have Peyton Manning. So, Bears, Saints, Broncos. My 3 real deal.
Very rude. Very rude, Ezra.
Hey, before the season even started, what did I say?
I know you're not high on the Seahawks, but you cannot ignore
deny
that defense. That defense is hands down number 1 in the league. That defense is sick.
That defense is doing a fantastic job. But like I just said, before I made my 3, I think there's more than 3 legit teams out of this 7. But
here's the problem with the Bears. As a Packers fan, I've seen this over and over again with the Bears. I think the last 2 years they started 7-1. Forte gets hurt. Jay Cutler gets hurt. They finish, 9-7, 8-8, whatever. Last year, same exact thing happened, except last year I actually called it out and I said, look at guys, look at their schedule. Look how everything is set up right now. Yeah, they're 4-0 or 4-1 or whatever it was at the time. I was making a video. But the second half of their schedule is no walk in the park. You mix in the injuries, you mix in their schedule, they finished just outside of the playoffs. This year, I haven't looked at their schedule. I'm not saying they're going to get hurt, but don't be surprised if the Bears start 6-1, 7-1, and then they kind of stumble again. I've seen it happen the last 2 years. It could happen again. I don't know. I would rather take Drew Brees over Jay Cutler. I'm going to pick the Saints over the Bears. You're picking the Seahawks as a team that's not even in the top 3 there, which is surprising. I like the Seahawks because of their defense. I think they can keep points off the board, give Russell Wilson the opportunity to put up about 20, 23 points, which should be enough for them to win a game. That's why I have the Seahawks in there.
Let me give you a little something about the Bears defense. You're talking about the Seahawks.
I did it. Okay, the Bears defense is legitimate.
Can I say something about it?
Go ahead.
Okay? The Bears defense has 3 touchdowns. They have the same amount of touchdowns as the Broncos and Jaguars. Okay?
What do you mean the Broncos?
I mean, the Jaguars and the Buccaneers. I'm sorry about that.
The Bears
defense has as many touchdowns as those 2 teams.
Bears always do that, man. That's one thing I can't, as a Packer fan, I can't stand that. Because every time you have the ball in offense, you have to watch out. That defense and their special teams is ridiculous. Fumble. What they love to do in Chicago is they love to tip passes, have those corners and safeties scoop them up for interceptions and have them just down the field and return them.
They have a different offensive approach this year. They got a great offensive mind in Mark Trestman, and they got the black unicorn over there. So they added another dimension with Brandon Marshall, and so far I think the black unicorn has 4 touchdowns. So I really like it. It's just Jay Cutler's. He's focused. He's getting the ball out. I just like the Bears, man.
Where'd you get that nickname from Marshall?
Oh, no, the black unicorn is
Martellus Bennett.
Yes, that's what I was talking about. He gave himself, and I've met Martellus Bennett before when he was with Dallas, and he actually welcomed me to his home, and he's a real cool guy, and I'm happy for the success that he has right now in his nice little contract. But the man is skilled. He's talented, and 4 touchdowns already.
That's something the Bears have missed over the last couple seasons as a tight end. Some of the guys they had last year, like Kellen Davis, were completely awful. So it's nice to see that they've brought in a tight end that can actually help out Jay Cutler. They bring in Bushrod at left tackle because Jamarcus Webb last year was terrible. So they definitely want to fill in some holes on that offense. As long as they can stay healthy and they can protect Jay Cutler, the Bears should be making the playoffs. Who wins that division, though? We don't know. That's a tough division. We've said it time and time again. Go ahead.
I was going to say, your Packers better get on it. ASAP.
They will. Last year they started 1-2. Last year on ESPN. Every time you turn on...
I still have faith in Aaron Rodgers.
That's do too. My boy right there. I'm very optimistic. I'm optimistic.
That's my boy. We go way back. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah?
I don't know what this meant, but we go way back. I don't know what the X stand for, but yeah.
18 Lockhart says Aaron Murray has been great as a 3rd to 5th round QB. Aaron Murray. Again, I need to watch more tape on him. I liked Aaron Murray, man. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
You want to talk about, you know what, you want to talk about during the week. Hey, who brought up, well, let's just talk about this situation first. Buccaneers bench Josh Freeman. Dave, what do you got about that, huh?
That's my guy, Mike Glennon.
Mike Glennon, that's your boy.
That's my guy, Mike Glennon. I've said it all along. I've said, you know what? You can take Geno, you can take EJ, you can take whoever you want. My guy in this draft is Mike Glennon. He's a taller quarterback, skinnier quarterback. Problem is his pocket mobility, meaning he's like a baby giraffe, fresh out the womb. As soon as he's got somebody in his face, he's buckling down. He's done. If you can keep him protected, remember, they got some pretty solid offensive linemen there in Tampa Bay. If he can make the right decisions, if he can show that team and that coaching staff that he can actually lead that offense better than Josh Freeman, he's going to win the job. Josh Freeman has looked like crap. If Glennon comes in does what he's supposed to do, doesn't make mistakes, which is hard for a rookie quarterback to do, we might have a new starter in Tampa Bay in Mike Lennon. I like him. I like what I saw coming out of NC State. That's my guy. I hope he does well. Thoughts, Ezra?
First thought is, how do you know about baby giraffes? That's my first thought out of that whole thing there. Have you played with a baby giraffe, or do you study these things
Nah, just,
at
you
college? No, I
National
don't.
Geographic
I
Channel?
don't. I don't watch anything with baby giraffes. That's just not my kind of thing. The only time I remember a baby giraffe. Is there any in the Lion King? I'm not sure if there's any baby giraffes in the Lion King.
I don't know.
I don't know. I was about to ask my buddy over there. He's playing Saints Row 4, but it is what it is. Let's move on.
Whoa, wait. He playing Saints Row 4?
Is there a problem with Saints Row 4?
What's wrong with Grand Theft Auto?
We got that. We got that in the back, man.
That's what he needs to be playing.
I know that's the hot
Saints
thing
Row.
right now. You know what? I'm going to be catching up on some old games in a couple weeks from now. Uncharted 3.
Okay.
That's really I need to catch up on some games myself, so I can't talk. Mike Glennon, love his size, 6'7", arm, and you know what? The Josh Freeman thing, I think he didn't care anymore. He was just tired of feeling like, you know what? You don't respect me. You don't want. I think he just gave up on them. I truly think Josh Freeman said, you know what? F you guys. I'm going home. He went the Carmen route from South Park, and that's another game that's coming out in December. I'm so excited for that, but that's a different story. So, hey, wish him luck. And, you know, so far, 0-3, Buccaneers, and that was one of my playoff teams. You're making me look bad, and when you make me look bad, I get upset. But didn't I say something in week 1 about Josh Freeman and a potential landing spot before anybody brought it up? Didn't I say I was going to put on my Miss Cleo hat on? So who's this potential landing spot that I brought up in week 1 that I'm reading reports now? Do you remember that place? Minnesota. First of all, I want to say, damn, I'm good. Okay? Got to give myself some credit because no one else will. I was fantastic there. But I see why not. I said no one respects Ponder. I don't respect Ponder. Don't you think maybe a fourth or fifth round pick might get it done? If
there's a chance.
I think it might get it. I think the.
You know who you can rule out is the Browns. If they're tanking, if they're looking towards the future, towards the NFL draft, they're not going to go after Josh Freeman.
If the Browns were to step in, I think they will do it in a couple weeks. They wouldn't do it right now because, you know, they got this guy that came in through for 3 touchdowns, and maybe, you never know, maybe they may believe, oh, whoa, maybe we got a gem here, a hidden gem here. So they're going to rock with him for the next couple weeks. But I think the one that makes most sense is the Vikings. Josh Freeman's only 25 years old. He's had some flashes of, you know, he could be a really good quarterback in this league. So
what about Jacksonville?
I don't think Jacksonville will take a chance on him because I don't believe they what would he I don't think he's that good to change what's going on in Jacksonville. I don't see Jacksonville taking that chance. You know, bomb out and you get a top 3. You know, they're looking like they're going to get the number 1 overall pick.
Who?
Jacksonville, as of right now.
Yeah. You know what else they're doing right now? They don't have fans in their seats.
They don't. You think Josh Freeman's going to change that?
No. You know what they're trying to do is change that is they're giving out free beer.
They're giving out free beer.
They're getting $42 tickets. And I think it was 2 cups of free beer or something like that.
Beer in New York City, a cup of beer at MetLife Stadium is what, $12? $12. So 2 beers is half a ticket at Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
I'm living in the wrong state.
I'll tell you, if you want to drink, you have to come to Wisconsin.
Come on, Jacksonville. I know this is off topic, and come on. Give Tim Tebow give him a chance. But at least Phillip, make some money in the process. If you think he sucks, at least you'll still get the number 1 overall pick. Right? You got nothing to lose over there. Give him a chance.
That franchise is just a mess. Oh my goodness.
Oh man, it was. And when they first came in under Tom Coughlin, this man, Jimmy Smith, um, to, Tony, the offensive lineman. I can't believe I forgot his name. He was a beast. He's a Hall of Fame candidate. Tony Baselli. There we go. And Jimmy Smith, I think he should
Tony
be
Baselli.
Baselli. You know what I'm saying? He used to, body those guys at the line. Jimmy Smith, I think, is another. Cadell Stewart. Not Cadell Stewart. I can't believe
Is it Mark Brunell? Wasn't he starting there for him?
Yeah, Mark Brunell, but there was another wide receiver. He won a championship with the Buccaneers too. So there you go. That's the Jaguars franchise for you right there. Okay, but they had a couple of nice players, but the last couple of years has been terrible. And had a sweet running back too. Can't believe I'm forgetting all their names. Can't believe it.
18 Lockhart hates Mike Lennon because he thinks if you get minimal pressure on him, he'll shudder, meaning he'll get sacked.
Yeah.
Which is something I already mentioned. I already brought that up. That's his weakness, without a doubt. So, I mean, as long as he gets protected, just give him some time. Andre Rios wants to know, are there any coaches right now, through 3 weeks of football, coming up on the 4th week here, are there any coaches on the hot seat?
I think there was a couple coaches before the season even start. Maybe it's cooled down as of right now, as of today. Rex Ryan, hot seat. Am I right? Maybe Ron Rivera from the Panthers. He's on the hot seat. And oh man, who's another guy? Dennis Allen, hot seat.
Dennis Allen.
Okay.
Yeah, who might be hired next year as a head coach? Lovie Smith.
Well, yeah. There's a couple guys that need to come back, okay? John Gruden, Bill Cowher. I don't believe they'll come back next year, but I'm saying those are the couple of those guys need to come back. Maybe Brian Billick. So, but I think the trash teams right now are in the hot seat.
I mean, I wouldn't say Jacksonville because Gus Bradley's 3 games in with them right now, so we have to.
We got Jim in Detroit. I would say Jason Garrett in Dallas. Even though as of today they look fine because they have winning records, but if it flips, those guys are gone. And for some reason, people want to bring up Tom Coughlin. If he's on the hot seat, which I don't think he is, he shouldn't be, and the media should not even think about it or even talk about it because to me, you're just creating stories and you look stupid. You lose respect for me when you say stupidness like that. When you got a 2-time winning Super Bowl head coach and you're telling me that the game has passed him already. He's on the hot seat. You're losing respect because I don't believe you. If everybody else that believe these idiots, okay, or they're just trying to sell the papers, you're an a-hole. I'm telling you right now.
How many times did these same people say that about him before he won his first Super Bowl? And how many times did they say that about him before he won his second Super Bowl? They say it all the time. It's just the media. It's the largest media outlet in the world. There's too many voices. There's too many opinions. There's too much stupidity that goes on in the state of New York with all their teams. There's too many idiots talking at the same time. And not idiot sports talk. I'm talking about real-life idiots who don't know what they're talking about.
Are you referring to me?
I'm not referring to you. I'm referring to the morons who keep saying fire.
Now you're definitely referring to me. I'm take that offensive, David, okay?
I'm talking about the people who want to see Coughlin gone.
I don't think they want him gone. It's just they're trying to sell those papers. They're trying to get views, and they're trying to create a story. It's just the pressure's ridiculous for the media over here to create something and something to talk about. and a lot of fans eat it up. It's ridiculous. But we
Can
got it up. Mike Shanahan.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. Can we put him on the hot seat?
They went to the playoffs last year. They didn't go to the playoffs.
Since 1999, was it not?
If they have a horrendous record at the end of the year, I think you could put them at a hot seat. Let's say they go 5-11. I think you could put them on a hot seat. I think you could if it's a very bad record.
I don't know. I like Mike Shanahan. I mean, you have to remember who he drafted last year. RG3 was a given. They were going to do that regardless. But look who he found in the 6th round. He knows how to draft running backs.
Well, he knows how to use running backs. That's for sure.
Both. You know, they drafted 2 this year that aren't being talked about because we don't know what they're going to do. But Alfred Morris was a gem. I don't know. Mike Shanahan has been in the league for such a long time. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. My question is, because I'm not sure about this, is how long has he been coaching the Redskins now?
I want to say 4 years. The reason why I would say he's on a hot seat if they have a horrendous record is because a lot of people had high expectations from RG3 and the Redskins as a whole. So when you have high expectations and you miss it by a large margin, in a general consensus, people were like, "Oh, okay, you better watch out in that scenario." But I think he's brought, since Joe Gibbs, respectability over there in Washington and some new excitement and this hope with RG3. So I think he would be safe, but you end up with it's just a law of averages, man. People are gonna be like, "Whoa, whoa."
You never know with that NFC East either. That division is always unpredictable. So
and remember, if you got guys like John Gruden and Bill Cowher out there, and you got Dan Snyder who's willing to spend the money, he might be in a hot. You know what, Bill Cowher? I'm done with this. Here's $10 million, $11 million a year. Here's personnel control. Do what you want. Do what you want.
It would be weird to see. It would be weird to see Bill Cowher on any other team than the Steelers, though.
That one I wanted to say. I like Tomlin a lot. I like him a lot. And the Steelers just don't fire their head coaches. I think they only had 2 head coaches the last, 30 years or whatever. It's something ridiculous like that. But 0-3 Steelers. They missed the playoffs last year. Tomlin, I don't know. I want to say no because of their history and the way they trust their coaches and believe in their coaches. But I think that's a name that you might want to keep in the back of your head, right here, back over here. Keep that Mike Tomlin right there.
All right, before we get off the subject, who's the first coach that gets fired this year? Even in the middle of the year, because we've seen it happen before. I'm going to say Dennis Allen. The Raiders, 32nd, I think they're going to finish. I think that there's a good chance they finish as the worst team in the NFL. Pryor isn't playing this week either. I'm going to say Dennis Allen.
Oh man, I'm gonna throw a curveball here. I want to say Rivera from the Carolina Panthers, but I'm gonna go with Frazier from the Minnesota Vikings.
Really?
Yep, they made it to the playoffs last year. Adrian Peterson's not doing his thing. Ponder has been virtually worthless since he's been in the league. The defense is not as good as his last year, I don't think. I'm gonna go with Frazier. They're 0-3. I'm gonna go with Frazier.
That's interesting.
But yeah, I've been pretty good with my Miss Cleo-ness, so boom, that's my prediction right there.
Hey, 18 Locker, I want to say something real quick. I watched tape last year on Cordero Patterson, I believe is how you say his name, who's now with the Vikings, drafted in the first round. I watched tape on Justin Hunter, who's drafted early in the second round by the Titans. These were the receivers for Tyler Bray out of Tennessee. And I had seen enough where I did not have to watch tape on Tyler Bray to know he was very inaccurate and to know that's why he did not get drafted. And you're saying you would take Bray over Glennon, who was a third-round draft selection. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but I'm going to stick with Glennon over Bray any day of the week. That's just me. I'm not seeing too many more questions. Maybe we'll have to...
Wait, we're doing a late night. This is like a late night.
It is a very late night.
It's 1:15 in the morning right now. Okay, we just did it after the Thursday night game. I've been up since way early this morning. I'm doing the love for David and everyone in here, for 18 Lockhart, Rios, Glass, everyone out there. Love you guys, man.
We might have to... It's been an hour and 15 minutes, to be fair.
And another thing is, that game was terrible. People are sleepy, okay? That game made me almost... I almost canceled coming onto the show tonight because I almost on my couch like, who threw another? Yeah. And let's talk about tonight's game. Let's talk about... People were killing Brian Schottenheimer, who used to be the Jets offensive coordinator, and talking about, Sam Bradford hasn't progressed like they hoped so far in year 2 with Jeff Fisher. And I'm there like, are we really killing Brian Schottenheimer right now? And you watched the game, David, at all? Anything?
No, I didn't because I don't have NFL Network.
Oh, okay. Well, the first quarter, he had a guy right there, post route, right in the corner. He overthrew an easy touchdown. And in my head, how was that? The guy was open, okay, off of the design. So Brian Schottenheimer did his job there. And Sam Bradford overthrows him. But that's the offensive coordinator's fault. I've seen plenty of throws that were overthrown or underthrown tonight by Sam Bradford, and we're killing the offensive coordinator. I understand these guys are young and stuff like that, and we get on the coaching a little bit, but come on now. He's an NFL quarterback who's been in the league, 4 years now?
Mm-hmm.
Let's put some blame on Sam Bradford, okay? He played like crap tonight. The Rams put up 51 points their first 2 games. Tonight, they played a very good defense in the 49ers, but Sam Bradford was absolutely pathetic. I know he was under pressure a lot of times too, but he was bad. And let's stop blaming others. Let's blame him now. Okay? It's enough excuses that he's gotten the last year. I was with everyone, okay? Sam Bradford doesn't have any weapons and this and that. With that. Tonight, I seen guys wide open. Hit it. Okay? He's the last number 1 overall pick to get big time money. What is it, $51 million guaranteed?
So yeah, it was something ridiculous.
He's making about I think $11 million this year or something.
Or wasn't it Stafford? Wasn't it Stafford was the last one? I think they cut it off before Cam Newton. I might be wrong on that. I don't know. Whatever.
He's getting big time money, and I'm tired of hearing everybody else.
I never really liked where people point fingers at coordinators, usually coordinators and head coaches, because they're not the ones out there performing. They're the ones scheming everything up. They're the ones who are pretty much calling the plays, and the guys out there on the field are supposed to be running those plays. If you're not performing, if you're overthrowing and underthrowing and not doing what you're supposed to be doing, that's not, like you said, that is not on the coordinator. Is the coordinator out there with the helmet on, the jersey on? Is he the one throwing the ball? No.
I understand when you get on coaching because, you feel like a game should be called a certain way and such and such. I understand. I get on offensive coordinators plenty of times in my life and coaches and such. And it was just, I seen even the NFL Network, Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk were going after Brian Schottenheimer. They were comparing Sam Bradford to Mark Sanchez. Like any quarterback that's attached to Brian Schottenheimer suffered through these problems. Last time I checked, when Mark Sanchez went to the AFC Championship, both those years, his offensive coordinator was Brian Schottenheimer, and those were his best years. So, hey, Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, I know you guys are the greatest show on turf, and I must say that was a fantastic offense you guys ran with Mike Martz. Okay? Why don't you lay off a little bit, okay? Take it easy, and stop coming up with this crap, too. Pissing me off. Maybe I'm being a little biased because I never wanted the Jets to fire Brian Schottenheimer, and he's a former Jet. Even though there's some, like, if you talk about Paul Hackett, a former offensive coordinator, I'll be right there digging the grave for you. That man, he's dead to me. Terrible. Anyways.
Hey, we're gonna wrap up with this question for you, since we're on the subject of Sam Bradford. Is Sam Bradford a franchise quarterback in your opinion?
In a sense of Pro Bowler, a guy that can lead your team to playoffs and stuff like that. At this point, you haven't done it in year 4 and you haven't taken that step. It usually doesn't happen. There's been some cases, like I mentioned Drew Brees earlier. He was with the Chargers for a number of years, and then, he went to the right situation, right coaching, and he hit his peak. It seemed like just at the right time, and now he's a Hall of Famer. Same thing can happen with Sam Bradford, but I'm going to say unlikely. But do I think he could be a guy that can be serviceable and help your team win, if he has the right pieces around you? I think he could do that. But franchise guy, if I had to put that tag on him, I'm going to say no. Because you should be hitting guys wide open. Year 4. If he was playing the same number of games like Geno Smith, this is game 3, game 4, and he's missing guys like that, all right, I'm going to let it slide by. I've seen Geno Smith already. I've seen a couple things, like he's underthrowing the ball a lot of times in the deep pass, but I'll let this slide. But year 4, if I'm seeing that, it's a joke. Please.
That's tough. I don't know if I could say yes or no to that question, because you can see it in Sam Bradford, but like you said, it's 4 years now. It's his 4th year in the season, or it's his 4th year in the NFL. Yeah. I don't know if it's his supporting cast for the last couple of years that really hasn't helped him out. His offensive line, last year they were almost down to all second-string guys. That entire offensive line. I don't know. I don't want to say yes. I don't want to say no. I think he could be a franchise quarterback. Right now, I don't know if he is, but I would like to think that he is. I can't give a yes or no to that question. That's a really hard question right now, because there's a gray area, and Sam Bradford is in that gray area for sure. So I would take him over some quarterbacks in the NFL, but obviously I'm not taking him over probably a good half of the quarterbacks. He's on that.
I'll take him over Mark Sanchez. I'll take him over that.
Okay, that's fair. Top 5 to top 8. Those quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls are in that one tier, that first tier. Then you've got those guys like Sam Bradford, or Matthew Stafford, Tony Romo,
Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco. Yeah, Matt Ryan. Those guys, those are second-tier guys. I think Matt Ryan could be up there in the first tier, even though he doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. And then you have Sam Bradford. Let's not put. I don't want to get into an argument before we end the show here, okay, David? Let's not put guys with Super Bowl rings automatically in the first tier. There's 3-4 guys in the first tier. Rodgers, Brady, Manning.
Do a top 5.
I don't want to do I don't want to rank top 5 because that's just too much. Okay?
I'm not saying rank them. I'm saying put.
I'm just talking about if you're talking about number 1 tier quarterbacks: Rodgers, Manning, Brady, Breeze. That's it. Four of them.
All right, fine. Matt Ryan at 5.
Okay, and second-tier quarterbacks, we got Joe Flacco, Tony Romo, Matt Ryan, Eli Manning.
Sure, I will agree with that. And then you have Sam Bradford in the third tier. That's where he is.
I don't even know if he's in the third tier.
Well,
Would you put Sam Bradford in the same ilk as Cam Newton? That's
Alex
what I'm saying.
Smith,
Cam Newton,
yeah, those guys.
Cam Newton, excuse me, Andrew Luck.
Okay. No, I wouldn't.
See, that's what I'm getting at here. So I would.
So what we're really saying is Mark Sanchez is like that 9th tier guy, right?
We're saying Mark Sanchez should even be in a tier. And remember, let me not get on Mark Sanchez that bad. He's not that. He's terrible, but he's not super terrible. If that makes any sense. I don't know if that made no sense, but still.
He shouldn't have a tier. No, I don't.
In all seriousness, let me get serious. If Mark Sanchez is in the right situation, he could be a starting quarterback in this league.
Yeah.
And I mean in a really good. If you put Mark Sanchez is a starter in Minnesota right now. I'm trying to say that with a straight face, but I saw your face smile and made me smile. Mark Sanchez, look into my eyes, people. Mark Sanchez, David, I'm trying to cover you here, is a starting quarterback in Minnesota.
If he wasn't hurt.
Even hurt, because Ponder, okay, Mark Sanchez, starting quarterback in Minnesota. He could be.
You know what I could be? I could be sleeping right now because I have to wake up for my internship tomorrow, meaning we are cutting this off. We are telling Glass and 18 Lockhart and Andre Rios and whoever else may be watching right now. You know, those are the guys who've been commenting. We're telling you guys goodbye. We're telling you guys that we will see you for another Red Zone Blitz.
I got to wake up and resign from my job tomorrow, so I got to write my
resign?
Yep. Resignation.
Like a 2-week notice or something?
I said 2-week notice. I'll see you later. Thank you for the opportunity. I love you. I'm going to miss you, but I got to go. Got to make this money. Do my live podcasting. So
is that going to make you more money than the job you have now?
No. The job that I accepted today, yes, there'll be a little more cheddar for my bread. You know what I'm saying? Put some cheese on my bread. But it'll allow me, because the situation I was in, my schedule was always up and down. So it was always based on need and based on business. Now I'll have more of a set schedule, and I'll be able to set podcast shows and set up a Red Zone Blitz with you. So we'll have a scheduled Red Zone Blitz in the future, so everyone will know when to expect us, such and such, a certain day, certain time. And that will help me out, the show out, my podcasting and everything else. And I'm actually thinking about doing a change to the Idiot Sports Talk YouTube channel with this new change also. But I have to ask the subscribers if they're looking forward to that now. And I guess I'll ask some of you guys now if you want to email me or tweet me your thoughts. And maybe I'll ask you, Dave. I'm actually thinking about going towards adding video games, in the sense like, you know, putting up NBA 2K footage and Madden footage and still talking about sports, but not seeing my big flappy ears out there, but you'll see some of the game footage instead of my face.
Is it going to be gaming? Is it going to be just sports gaming, or like all kinds of gaming?
Yeah, I could talk about, you know, play Call of Duty and shoot some people in the face and talk about which quarterbacks or coordinators I'm shooting in the face in a fantasy-based video, you know. Like, I really don't want to shoot anybody in the face. Those guys, they're human beings. They're awesome. But in a video game, I could be like, bang, bang, Mark Sanchez, you and your damn turnovers, and teabag them in Call of Duty. But that's up to you guys.
Well, you're gonna have to run that by your subscribers. I've done a couple videos where I put up some like Madden
Yeah.
career-ending. But I don't know. I mean, that would be an experiment.
I would that be a process because I will have to, that's
Or
something I'll get into later. But I got in trouble. Remember that time I got in trouble? I put up NFL Blitz game footage, and I was doing predictions, NFL playoff predictions, and the NFL, Roger Goodell personally flagged me. I think he went on YouTube. He said, this guy, that's copyright infringement. Okay, so I got a spanking by YouTube, and had to deal with some penalties for 6 months because of that. Roger, I want to get your permission first before I go forward with this. Okay, Roger Goodell? I know I get on you sometimes, but we're cool, right? You got a beautiful smile, my man. Beautiful smile. Not you, David. I'm talking about Roger Goodell. Don't try to take his credit.
I know. He's got like a what? How much is Roger Goodell worth? I have to look that up for the next Red Zone.
He made $21 million last year.
Multi-million-dollar smile. Let's just put it like
21. That. He's the highest paid football guy.
The football guy. That's his title.
I can't say player.
He's not the He's the football guy.
Football guy. I don't know what you want me to call. Of course, he's the highest paid commissioner. He's the only commissioner. So I can't call him a player. So football guy. That's something that came to my head. You know me. My verbiage is not. I'm sorry, college guy, Mr. ESPN intern.
I'm not saying. It was just fun. It was hilarious. All right, guys. We're cutting it off. It's 12:30 Central Time, 1:30 Eastern. We will bring you guys another Red Zone Blitz. Hopefully, whenever Ezra's
Ezra's free. Okay, put it on me because it's the truth. That's why I'm happy and excited about this position because in the near future we don't have to go through this. But I think I'm Wednesday. I'm gonna say Wednesday as of right now. Watch out
during the day, possibly.
Yeah, during the day, not at 1 a.m. in the morning.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, because usually I'm with the ladies at night. So,
not tonight.
Not tonight, unfortunately. My friend is actually over here. I'm with a dude tonight.
Oh, nice.
Playing Saints Row.
Nice. Talking some football.
Anyway, it's time to get out of here.
It is. All right. We will talk to you guys later. Dave from Wake Up It's Football, Ezra from Idiot Sports Talk. Hopefully next week, bring you guys another episode of the Red Zone Blitz. But that is all we got for you guys today. We are out.